Negotiations between the EU and the UK on their future relationship have stalled. Time is running out and Europeans have lost interest in reaching an agreement. The time for an agreement is running out, warned EU chief negotiator Michel Barnier after the latest round of negotiations as well. How many times have we heard that now? A paralyzing feeling of déjà vu arises. What caused political excitement in the heated dispute over the Brexit treaty last year now only provokes a tired shrug. The British are out of the EU, and afterwards only experts are interested in economic relations, it seems. The EU accuses the British government of not being seriously committed to progress in the negotiations and of not being ready to compromise. For their part, the British accuse other Europeans of being principled and lacking flexibility. That leaves Brussels pretty unaffected. You now know Boris Johnson and expect him to gamble again until shortly before the end and then give in once more to a great draw. The British Prime Minister in turn continues to feed the hope at home that he could blackmail the EU through stubbornness and give in at the last minute in October. It plays a role that it is not yet clear which Brexit faction will ultimately win the upper hand in his government and party. Will the moderates prevail who want a workable trade contract and a friendly relationship? Or will the hardliners win who write sovereignty on their flags and are ready to go under for this noble principle in the self-made trenches? In the meantime, British wishes for the agreement have shrunk to a minimum. All that remains to be discussed is a trade contract of the simplest and most banal kind. The British have scaled back further demands for special rights. What remains is little more than the duty-free and quota-free exchange of goods and a halfway smooth, Kent, truck traffic. So far, however, one has not even come close to such a scrap contract, as British critics call it. The Europeans want more security with Great Britain than with the trade agreement with Canada. They fear dumping and unfair competition if they open up their huge domestic market to British exports. They want fair rules for the economy on both sides. The EU does not want to be undercut when it comes to environmental, labour and social standards. And it wants to enforce its extensive ban on state subsidies, which the government in London has so far vehemently rejected. For the British, this is the real reason for Brexit: total freedom to do what they want economically and politically. The idea of total sovereignty, however, is incompatible with a trade agreement based on cooperation. The British government will have to choose where to go: be lonely and free, or be on good terms with its big neighbours. In the past few weeks, the EU has made offers to the British sides of how the seemingly insurmountable differences could be resolved. For example, with regard to legal supervision and the role of the European Court of Justice. Now Brussels is waiting for movement in London. The political pressure among Europeans is low. People have resigned themselves to Brexit. If the new relationship could be regulated, well, that would be a plus. If that doesn't happen, the world won't end. The corona crisis and the joint economic reconstruction plan have put the distortions caused by Brexit into perspective in the EU. Many member states are thrilled that they could agree on corona aid and move closer together. The departure of the British and the future cooperation now appears more as a footnote. Nobody is prepared to invest any significant political capital in a post-Brexit agreement. This is especially true for France. President Emmanuel Macron cannot afford an unfavorable deal in areas such as fishing. No contract at any price, said his new European minister. And that also applies to Chancellor Angela Merkel, who, as President of the Council, could still do something for the success of an agreement this half year. But she too has often emphasized that the European internal market is more important to her than the well-being and wishes of the British. If London hopes to be rescued by the Chancellor once again, that may, as in the past, be the wrong card. In this chaotic and polarized world, it would be important and necessary for Europe to agree on a fruitful cooperation with its British neighbours in all areas of economy and politics. If this goes wrong, it would be a testimony of poverty for both sides and a geopolitical failure. Still, The EU will not buckle down to accommodate the British. It could be that Boris Johnson is gambling too high again and overestimating his weight. Nobody will suffer more than the British Prime Minister and, unfortunately, his citizens. Maybe he should think about the art of compromise over the summer vacation. And if you now want to know more about European politics from a German point of view, YouTube has chosen another of my videos right here for you in the end screen, right next to your chance to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Click and enjoy. Viel Spaß!